everyone, so we are live today, and we've changed the sessions over to a Saturday, so it'd be great if we could see people joining us. That would be fantastic. We've also just put together a lovely little framework of what we're going to be doing over the next 6 weeks, so you can prepare yourself and you can come and actually join me and draw along or paint along with me. And today I thought I'd choose something that, while it's raining outside and it's really dull and dark, that brightens anywhere up. So I really love drawing birds. I think they're just such a pretty little thing to study. So today what I thought I'd do is to show you just a different range of birds that we can find in the garden, some of them really interesting in terms of colours. So I've got some things for you to experiment with as well. I've also got some sticks that I'm going to be drawing with, just because I love that freer feel of when we're painting. But we're just going to get right into it, and I'm going to switch my camera around now and we'll start off. So we've got this beautiful little robin here. And I think that, you know, birds can seem quite complicated at first, but hopefully from today we're going to really break those shapes down so that you can actually focus on some of the simpler aspects of that, and you can really explore and experiment in your own way. So what's really interesting with birds is that they do have this unique and this standardized way of drawing them. So I'm just going to take you through this really. In fact, I'll swap to this so you can actually see it. And there's some cracking YouTube videos already out there to showcase some of this stuff. So here where the head is, actually if we look, we can see that there's this curved line that really attaches the head and sort of the neck, if you like, to the body. So if we start by putting in a curved line, it's going to represent this part of the bird. And then for every bird, they've always got a lovely little pot belly, whether it's slimmer or, you know, rounder, they've all really got this trait. So I want to put that curved line in there. So this is representing this part of the bird. And the next thing that we could add on is the wing. So it's a lovely triangle shape. So if we think again in shapes, you'll often hear me say, you know, if we think in shapes, it'll make it a lot easier for us. So if we add that shape in, little triangle, and then there's another triangle shape for the tail. So we add that, which is starts just above the other triangle. Yeah, lovely. And we join it round and keep going round until you get to this point, which is the beak. Like a straight line. And we're going to add in that shape. And directly in the middle of that is this lovely eye. And something that I always felt was really tricky when I first started was the legs. And if we look, they go directly from the end of the bird here. And it's a straight line forward. And the balancing point tends to always be in the middle. So if we see that this is how the bird is able to stand up and such skinny stalks, we can add that in as the first line. The second one will always be smaller because of the proportion and the way we're looking. We can just add these lines in so we can see the direction of the toes for now. Just like that. There we go. We've got our basic shape. Now this works for all sorts of different birds. So we've got a lovely blue tit here. And I'm just going to show you this makeup again and show you that it still does work. So we do a curved line here where the head meets the body. Got a lovely curved line. Really looking at the direction. We've got this lovely little pot belly, although it's a little bit more angular on this. So even though birds will differ slightly, we'll still have these same shapes. We've got a beautiful triangle and lots of different feathers for the wings. Yeah, and it's just off the page, but you could actually see, again, just above the wing is where the tail starts. A little triangle. Just want to join that up. Now for the head, This lovely little cheery blue tit is pointing a particular way. It's got a lovely head of feathers. I just want to join that in. Oh, there's his head. Add the beak just to the edge. And then we want to add in the eye. So again, real basic stuff. And for this one, look at the middle of the bird. That's where the balance is. We can only just say a few little claws for this one. So again, these are our basics. So we want the curve, the pot belly, the triangle for the wing, the triangle for the tail, that rounded head, straightish line here on the other side where the beak is. And that's how we build up a picture of the birds. And once you practice that and you get really used to drawing birds in this way, we can move over to different types of media. So we can start experimenting. I just pulled a stick from the garden, one that was lying around on the floor. I've just got a little bit of watercolours here, just a nice little palette that I use. It's got some great little colours in, a nice little range of colours, but you could use practically anything to draw with. It doesn't have to be watercolours. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bear it in mind, and you can even put those in pencil. So if you want to have those in, draw those in just quite lightly, get rid of them later. And we've got these little building blocks. And then we can start adding in the detail and really bring this to life. So I'm just focusing on what I can see. I'm just keeping it quite loose. I'm not really worried too much about it looking accurate as such. I just really like to play around with some of the shapes that I can see. And I'm thinking about, where does this wing go to? Does it go right to the edge? Does it hang over a little bit? And I love drawing sticks because biggest advantage about them is that they're free. And we can find them knocking about anywhere really. Add in some little detail. The eye. Lovely. So just a little brush. Start to really think about, the colours, where that lands. Just doing a nice little outline. I'm just getting familiar with the shape, and this is true for anything that we do. If we're learning something new, it's about becoming used to what it looks like. Some nice loose little, lovely yellowy green feathers at the front. Don't worry if it mixes and blends, that's absolutely fine. Again, it's just a little study that we're doing. We've got to practice these things in order to get them accurate. So try not to be too precious. Find your own style when it comes to things. It's much more interesting, I think, seeing somebody's individual style than a photograph of how it looks sometimes. Just want to keep adding, and you might want to add some details in of the feathers. It's got a pencil here, you can draw in over that. But again, just explore. Got some nice black at the tips. Again, it's quite dark over here. And sometimes if I've made it a little bit too wet, you can go in with some kitchen roll. Just keep playing about. Sometimes the quicker I draw and paint, the more I really like it, the way that it comes out. Keep adding until you get something that you're quite confident with. Adding some details. So this has just really happened from looking at the anatomy and looking at this, and sometimes you may need to correct, because I can see this negative shape here. It's far different from what I originally drew it. And the thing that I love with watercolours is just allowing it to blend, just allowing it to do what it really wants to do. So that's our little blue tit. And let's move on to a different shaped bird. So we've got this lovely goldfinch here. And again, what we need to remember is the anatomy of what we've drawn before. So it's circle, curve shape, little pot belly, and you stood at a particular angle. Just want to get some of these in. We're looking all the time more at the image than we are at our drawings. We've got the triangle for the wing, which just sits neatly underneath the other. And the tail is slightly different. Rather than a triangle, it's actually more of a fan shape. We just want to add that in. The legs, again, in the middle of the bird to get the balance. Right around the... Well, there we go. We just want to add in. Correct, as we go. So we've got some lovely opportunity here. This beautiful goldfinch to add in some colour. And the way I have my watercolours, again, is quite rough, quite random. I love just seeing how the water interacts with the page. As I'm going through, I'm just thinking in my own mind, you know, how does that shape look? And I think with watercolours and with any types of paint, you can actually sort of sculpt into the work, so you can bring things further out and down. And these studies are really important, especially if you maybe want to go into art in school or college or uni. These are some things that they'll look for, your observation skills, as well as the way that you explore and experiment with paint. What better way to experiment than in your own time, no pressure, doesn't have to be right, you can just have fun with it. And it's really lovely if you was to be out and about, you even take a sketchbook with you and try and capture some of the stuff that you see, some of the birds that you might see. I think I might want to add some more detail in, so I can go in outline. And again, just be quite free. We're just really looking to see. I also like using the pencil to drag out some of the paint there existing. And what's lovely is, as well, when we are sketching and drawing birds is that, you know, we can take elements of it that, you know, we may want to work on. So we could actually take the beak and just explore drawing the different shapes and where the distance to the eye is. These are all little studies that you can do. Really help you to build a lovely little portfolio of work, or just to have fun. You know, so we could do a little close-up of the head. Let's look at where drag some colour out. Think about your colours. Think about using some of the page as well to give you that blank colour instead of adding white. There's a nice little trick. Don't worry if it bleeds, keep going, keep exploring, keep experimenting. I think a lot about art is having the resilience to look at your mistakes and know how to fix it next time. Eyes are always really challenging. You can add a lot of character or take away. I always think about the eyes is, where do I see the shine? You know, so that can always really help if there's a shine to bring them to life. You think about that. Again, if it gets a little bit too wet, just take some away. Keep going. So I like to just use my fingers. After all, I think watercolours are one of the easiest things to actually get out of your clothes or work tops. Don't need to worry too much. Another reason why I really like it, just because it tends to be so messy. And you know, don't forget the background that we can see. You know, add some detail into the back. You can even add some writing to your studies. And just keep going and find some things, you know, that you might want to add to. So you might want to put the little plants in at the back. It's a really great little sketchbook ideas. So let's see what other birds we've got. A little wren, a bullfinch. So I chose these images actually because, you know, the ones that we've done before have all got the wings down and closed, but these are actually open. Now with a bird that's got the wing open, actually have got 2 points to it. So if we use our same thing, so we've got the same setup, got the curve here, and then we've got very slender belly on this dove, and then the tail, obviously we can just see a little bit of a triangle there. So if we go to that one first, add that in, ignore the other feathers for now, let's just keep it simple. Now for the wing, you may think already you can see sort of a triangle shape, but actually if we look, it's square to start off with, and then we add the triangle on the top of that. Connect that up and we can see this sort of fan shape behind square triangle. Add this, and with doves they have this sort of curved beak. Add that in, and then we want to add the tail.
So all these shapes may vary, but it's important that we use those as the basis, the triangle shapes, and moving from there. And you know, we've got the feather detail here. You can add them in over the top here too. Okay, and with this one, with the seagull again, you can see a square shape, then leads a little bit higher into the triangle. So we'll start with our basics again. So we've got that curve under the neck, little pot belly-ish shape. We want the triangle there for the tail, but we can also see that it fans out. Attach this side if you want to as well. And then we've got the square leading onto the triangle. Same for this side. Square shape or rectangle shape that leads on then to the triangle. And seagulls have got this kind of square shaped head too. So there's some of the basic shapes for this. And I quite like seagulls, especially when you're using watercolours, because they're quite simplistic. You know, you only really need sort of greys and whites and that black to add some accent. And when you're feeling confident enough, you might want to just go straight in with watercolour. I like to paint quite fast, but you don't have to. It's not necessarily always a good thing. It just helps me to get it down, to really think about some of the shapes that I see and build that up. And the little yellow of the feet. Again, you don't need to be so precious. We're literally just exploring. It have to be a masterpiece. It's just our practice session, you know. Might want to go over, let me stick here. And the detail. Don't forget to add that shading in that we can see. I think with birds, you know, sometimes it might help you to draw a little bit faster just because, you know, birds are quite free. We can add in some really bold shapes, you know, to describe what we can see, especially if you're out and about drawing. You know, don't be so worried about getting it right first time. We'll capture it on the fly fast as we can. Draw down first, add some colours in later. There's some lovely little abstracts, quite nice. Not so regimented. And for me, again, I hate seeing art sometimes that looks exactly what it should look like. I love to see the mark of the painter, how they've gone about it. Nice little scene. And you can fill your sketchbook up quite rapidly doing something like this. It's really fun. So for the last little bit, I thought it'd be really nice to add some proper vibrant colours in. And again, these are totally different shape of bird, but we can use that anatomy to remember how we draw them in. So there's that shape. Kind of can't see the pot belly, but it is rounded by the wings. We've got a branch in this one to tackle, but there's the triangle at the bottom for the tail. Head for a parrot is very angular, and the beak, the top beak, is always longer than the bottom. We've kind of got this sort of shape. And I'm going to absolutely go for this at the last one. Nice vibrant colours, splashing it down. Have these beautiful blues on the wing. Bit of shading down at the bottom. And don't forget to lean back, have a look at your work, see how it's progressing. Keep sculpting with that paint. I'll put the blue underneath here. A nice thick. Just get stick here for a bit of extra. And then add some detail. Remember, feel loose. Make sure you're painting from your shoulder and not just your wrist. Make sure you're painting from your whole arm. You'll find it much easier. Adding this detail. The only thing is sometimes the scratchiness of the ink can go through me at times. Detail. And just see that it's bright yellow that I've missed off on the wing. Add that in. And a little bit on this side. Just keep going. So we're coming to the end of our session now. It goes so fast. And I think what's really important is that you just keep exploring, use that basic anatomy, what we've discussed. So have a look at some YouTube videos, have a look how other artists are doing it. Practice, keep going, don't worry. A really nice thing to do is maybe have quite a few different pages so that you can explore at the same time. Think about having close-ups of some of the detail, you know, just draw some sections of the bird if that's easier for you to explore and have a go at. You know, think about how it looks from different angles, choose birds from different flying positions, different sitting positions, just to really get to grips with some of the things that you can be looking for. And this will all put you in really good stead for if you are going out and about and you want to start to, or you know, your goal might be to actually draw from life, you know, which is really achievable, especially if you put the practice in while you sat in a place of comfort. And I do love a stick, my best friend, just to get some of those loose lines in. You know, don't be afraid to try new tools to draw with. Just keep adding in new things that you think might help to establish some of these images. So don't forget the anatomy. Don't forget those curved circles, pot belly, triangle wing, triangle tail, join it up, straighter for the head. And you can use that really as a great building block to carry on All right, so I'd love to see your work. Don't forget to tag us in at NeuroLove, at Neuro Champions. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and leave some comments. Let me see what you think of this. All right, everyone, I hope you've had a good time, and I'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.